Hey.
Okay, recording has begun.
Can you unplug so I can hear?
All right, here we go. All right. Good evening, everyone. There's people trickling in. We'll get started. Things are being recorded. Coach Nichole will be in charge here shortly. Remember, kind of so that we don't just go through the exact same topics or some substitution of them every time. We put it out there for you guys to bring some of your questions or obstacles, or even I think I put in there your successes, things that you've been able to accomplish, and bring those to the table so that we can help a little bit more specifically with anybody that needs anything. So Nichole created topics, sent out topics. Hopefully we have some questions or comments on those. If not, she will start trying to drag them out of you, and off we go. So Nichole, it's your meeting, and I'll just keep track of all the people in and out and step out of the way for you.
Sounds good. Do you have this screen share on?
Do you want that topic page up?
No, I have a PowerPoint.
Oh, got it. I'll get that to you in a sec.
Okay, cool. Hey guys, happy Sunday. So what I figured we would do first is I have a presentation that has those topics that Ross had sent over to everyone to give you some topics and pieces that you can start thinking about if you had any questions or comments about those topics. So we'll go through them. If you have nothing to say, I kind of have some starters, some question starters that hopefully y'all can get a conversation going. So let's see. Can you guys see my screen? Ross, can you see this? No?
No, not yet.
Okay. Let me know when I should pull it up.
Oh, well, go ahead. It just hasn't changed on our end.
Oh. Let me know when you see it so I know when to start.
Nothing. When you go to your screen share, just make sure you're selecting that page.
I didn't get a screen share. Oh, wait, let's see. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait, no, it just came through. Hold on. Share. Here we go. How's that?
You're good now.
Now we're good. Okay, great. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so we're going to start with nutritional timing. We're going to go through, I'm going to bring up some topics of nutritional timing and what it is. So when we talk about nutritional timing, that is just the timing of when you should be eating, in relation to our part you should be eating, how that relates to workouts, and that kind of thing. So I guess to start, does anybody want to call out a question or topic or comment they had about the timing of their personal nutrition or how that should look in your day?
I had a question.
Okay, great.
What do you think of having more than 3 meals a day, like 4 or 5?
100%. You totally should. Especially if you aren't allowed to have snacks during the day at school. So I know some schools, and it kind of varies where everybody goes to school, but I know some schools don't allow the students to have snacks during the day. So on top of your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, you should be getting in an additional meal or two. So I'm going to jump into the how often we should be eating and what that looks like. So every 3 to 4 hours, that's whether it's going to be a meal or a snack. And so several presentations ago, we talked about how many calories you guys should be taking in a day. And in order to get that many calories in, without feeling like you've got to eat this huge meal at each sitting, you definitely should be kind of spreading it through your day and constantly giving your body that fueling. So next, if you don't have the snacks at school, meals need to be bigger to account for the lack of the snacks or those mini meals in between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And why? So we want to prevent hunger. You know, that's the first big thing. If you find that you're starving through the day, you probably aren't eating enough throughout the day, or maybe those meals aren't big enough. It's going to prevent fatigue. If you feel like you're dragging that day, or you just can't find the kick to go, or, you know, you're super sleepy before practice or after school, you're probably not fueling enough, putting enough gas in the tank. And then to eat more, you're better fueling your body for our big workouts and those big practices. So eating more than our 3 traditional meals, your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, is totally encouraged. Anybody else have questions about nutritional timing and what meals should look like?
I had a question about like hunger. It sounds like you're not supposed to be hungry at all, but like, is that true? Like, how hungry are you supposed to be before you eat?
No, hunger is natural, right? You know, especially depending on how many hours has it been since your last meal or snack. That's a signal and a trigger in your body to remind you to eat. So it's totally normal to feel hunger, right? You know, especially if your breakfast came at 6 and it's 1 o'clock and you maybe haven't had anything since then it's reminded that hunger is reminding you that you need to put something in your body. But we want to stay on top of our hunger. So making sure, maybe I tell some of my clients, like, if you don't find yourself to be hungry during the day, but you know you need to be eating more, sometimes setting alarms on our phone can be really helpful, you know, to remind ourselves to eat. Packing snacks. So my car always has snacks in it, my bag, my backpack, I always have snacks kind of tucked away, because sometimes you can't predict when you're going to be hungry. You know, sometimes you're hungrier sooner than later. Some days are different than the other, depending on how big the workout was. Maybe you had a beefier workout last night, so today you're a little bit hungrier than normal. So making sure you're prepared with some snacks on you for the day is going to be really helpful to stay on top of that hunger. Is that helpful? Anyone else for nutritional timing? Hunger?
Yes. What macros should we be having at which time and about how much, like in relation to practice?
Yeah. So your macros are your fats, carbs, and proteins. We never want to skip on one of the 3. You want to make sure you're getting all 3. And a quick way to think about that is your protein is your power. That is what's fueling and feeding your muscles for growth and recovery. So protein is going to be, you want to have, let me backtrack. You want to have all 3 macros in all of your meals. So in breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you should want to have one of each at least. So let's think about like breakfast, for example. You want to have a protein, a fat, and a carb. So that could be some eggs, would be protein and fat. Maybe a whole wheat bagel would be your carbs, and then maybe some peanut butter on top. That'd be some additional fat. Greek yogurt, a protein shake. Those are all things that would be protein for breakfast. For lunch, you want to make sure you're getting all 3. So a lean protein like turkey, chicken, fish, something like that. A carb could be if you're having it in a sandwich. your bread, or if you're doing a school lunch, maybe some whole wheat pasta or brown rice. And your fats could be things like a string cheese, avocado. Those types of things are going to be all three. Now, nutritional timing with your macros in relation to the timing of pre and post practice. So again, the protein is the power, and that's fueling the muscle. So you want to have that for after your workout. So think about, you've either gone to the gym or you've done your swim and you are building strength. You want to optimize that strength and replenish that muscle with the protein that's going to take care of the muscle building. Pre-workout, you want carbs. So carbs are like the gas in the tank. So that's going to give you your energy. So if you're feeling fatigued or you need some extra get up for your workouts, you want to put the carbs in, because that's going to give you that additional power. Now carbs are your grains, your breads, your oatmeals, all those things, but you can also find carbs in fruits, and banana are actually really, really high in great complex in a carb. And the fruits also have natural sugars. The natural sugars also give you that additional energy that you need for workouts as well. Now, we don't want the sugars that are coming from like a pack of Skittles or a Snickers bar, but getting it somewhere like a fruit is going to be great. Was that helpful? Was that from Lee? Was that helpful?
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem. Was there someone else? I thought I heard someone maybe beeping right before him.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there's a time where a snack would be better than a meal, or like vice versa.
Yeah. So, your breakfast, your lunches, and your dinners are kind of those traditional timings, right? You wake up, you want to be eating your breakfast within the first 30 minutes to the first hour. You're awake to get that metabolism going and fueled. You want to fuel that metabolism, especially at y'all's age. Your metabolism's running at such a high level, you want to keep feeding it. So within the first 30 minutes to an hour that your eyes pop open and you're ready. And then, so let me give you a time frame of an example. So if you're eating breakfast around 7, then ideally, I know schools are different, but ideally you would want to have a snack hours later. a.m. would be a great time to get something in for a snack. And that could be anywhere from, for you guys, calorically, maybe something around 300 calories. Then, another 2 or 3 hours later, you're looking at, it's going to be about 12 to 1 o'clock. So that's lunchtime, right? You want to have a good, decent sized lunch, maybe a sandwich or a wrap with a piece of fruit, a yogurt, a couple different things, and maybe some hummus and veggies or hummus and pretzels, something like that. So you're making sure you're checking all your boxes at that meal. Then maybe that's at 12:30, you go another 3 hours. Now it's putting you right after school. So after school, especially because a lot of times after school, even if you have like an early lunch, I know sometimes schools do lunches at like 11ish. So if you're going that whole span after lunch, you could probably have a little smaller meal. So you could maybe have a smoothie, like a big beefy smoothie where you can get in a ton of protein, a whole banana, which would give you a ton of carbs in there, some peanut butter, which would give you that healthy fat, or any nut butter. So a smallish meal there would be great. Then that's going to take you into practice as well. And then after practice, as far as a snack or a meal goes, that all kinds of depends on when dinner time is for you. I know y'all's practices go into the evening. So if you know, because I know some of y'all have like an hour drive home from practice, you're going to want to pack a snack to have in the car. So that could be something high in protein. But if you know in the next 20 to 30 minutes, you're going to be at home and it's dinner time, you can just jump straight into dinner and make sure you're getting a good portion of a lean meat at that meal. So like a chicken breast, a turkey burger, some seafood, something like that would be great. Ground turkey tacos, making sure you're getting plenty of lean meats after your workout. Was that helpful, Abby, as far as your snacks versus your meals?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Nichole,
Yeah.
All right, two things. There are a couple of questions in the chat, if you can
Okay.
access
Great.
those. And then I actually have a question that popped in my head last week. We've changed our schedule slightly. So when the swimmers are getting done with the more intense part of their workout, the swim part, we are then doing about a 30-minute dry land session afterwards. So how does that impact how they're trying to get, protein into them within 30 minutes to 60 minutes, I think, of after practice? Should they be packing something to pop in that gap time between the end of the swim and into our dry land? Because our dry land doesn't have the intensity of the swim. It's still work, and it's definitely time. It's extending when they go home and or,
Sure.
get more nutrition into their system.
Do they have a break there? Waters, or like maybe like a 10-15 minute rollover time before they get into dry land practice, or is it kind of go straight into it?
It's pretty straight into it. It's like
Straight into
about a
it?
5-minute transition.
So that I kind of leave up to the athlete, right? If you know that you just fully exhausted yourself and you know that you're going to need something a little bit to help get you through, if you're feeling a little fatigued, having something quick to eat going into that next portion of the workout would be really helpful. And that could be a like some sort of a protein bar. You know what I mean? Where normally those bars will, because it's quick and it's easy to have on hand and it's fast. So something where the bar is going to have carbs in it and it's going to have protein in it if it's labeled as a protein bar. So something with like 10 to 15 grams of protein is going to be perfect to have if your body needs it, if you're feeling hunger and you know you won't be able to push as hard without it before that. You could also, it would even still, so back to how your body feels. If you feel like you're fatigued and you need the extra push, something carby like that's going to be helpful that you can chew, or like a banana, because that's quick too. But if you want to get ahead of your protein, you could also mix up a protein shake. So if you have protein powder at home, you could bring it in a shaker, fill it with some water, shake it up, and you could drink that through the strength portion of the workout as well. If y'all have ever seen like people walking around the gym or something, they have the shakers. A lot of times they'll have protein, a post-workout protein powder mixed with water, and you can drink that through that as well. And that's going to be some people's, depending on how the protein sits in your stomach, it may sit funny in your stomach. You don't want that. So you may need something to chew on like a bar. But yeah, that'd be a great opportunity to kind of start that post-workout snack there. Especially if the goal is for you to increase muscle weight, and if the goal is maybe a little muscle weight gain, that'd be a great time to get in the extra protein calories so you don't feel like you have to eat the whole chicken at dinner time. All right, let me pull up that the chat so I can see some questions. Okay. When should we take supplements / BCAAs? Your BCAAs are those branched chain amino acids. I know we've talked about them before, but as a refresher, so there are branched chain aminos that your body can't produce, and they're great for recovery. They're great for muscle fatigue, muscle repair. So, I'm sure you felt after a harder workout before the sluggish heaviness of maybe your arms, or maybe from a dry land workout, your chest was sore, your back was sore, your lats were sore. You feel that tenderness from a hard workout. BCAAs can help with that recovery. With the timing in that, there's no big timing there. You could take that in during dry land. You can mix that in a water bottle during the day. Some people that take it pre, during, or even post. So there's no real specific timing for that. If it's a protein supplement, you're getting additional protein outside of foods that you're chewing at a meal or a snack, that would be post, that would be after. And you want to take that in within the 30 minutes after your workout, or in this case, like during your dry land. Okay, for hydration, how much water should we have at school to prevent cramping at swim? All of the water. You want a lot of water. So and it's going to come up on a slide too. We'll talk a little bit more about hydration, but we can kind of dive into it now while we're all chatting. You want to be taking in 1/2 ounce to a whole ounce of your body weight. Okay. So if you weigh 120 pounds, half of that would be 60 ounces. 1 ounce of that would be 120 ounces. So thinking of it in relation to just like a little plastic water bottle, that's only 16 ounces. So it's a lot of water. And talked about before, we want to stay ahead of, we can't play catch up. So you want to get your bottles, water, sports drinks, whatever you need with the additional electrolytes. If you do have a problem with cramping, then maybe it's a sodium you want to be taking in the additional electrolytes and sodium from something like a Powerade Zero, a Gatorade Zero, something like that. If cramping is an issue. But when we talk about this, when we get to that slide, your hydration and how many ounces you should be taking in of water a day, that's just water. Especially when I'm working with athletes, you want to be taking in about an ounce for your body weight. So again, going back to someone who weighs 120 pounds, you want to be taking in about 120 ounces. That does not include your Gatorades or the waters you're taking with your supplements. It should be just water, because you won't be able to overhydrate with just that much. So you want to be taking in what you need in your body weight. Does that help, Enzo? All right, we're going to go to the next slide unless anyone has any more nutritional timing questions. Let me scoot this down. Okay. Pre and post, let me go back one. Pre and post practice. I know we just kind of talked about it a little bit. Does anybody have any questions specific about that other than what we kind of just touched on before I show some question topics? Anybody have any issues with finding the right snack? Or maybe do you have a hard time eating something before practice? Or do you feel like you get hungry in the middle of practice and you don't know what you should be having before? All right, maybe these will help jog some questions. All right, so before practice, 30 to 60 minutes, something we should be eating: complex carb, healthy fat. So examples would be peanut butter energy balls. I've posted that recipe and I know some of y'all make these that I've spoken with. A sandwich, a piece of toast with maybe some like cream cheese, some nut butter, some avocado toast, fruit. These are all examples of carbs and healthy fats. After practice, again, 30 to 60 minutes, protein. You can't get enough of it. Y'all should be at least getting in 1 gram per body weight. So going back to someone who may weigh 120 pounds, that's 120 grams of protein a day. So you want to make sure you're getting enough protein. And you can kind of look online, like if you, just to give yourself an idea of what you're looking at, if it's, a chicken breast, you can Google how many ounces are in, how many grams of protein are in 1 chicken breast, and then kind of see how much you've eaten that day. Start looking at some labels, start being conscious of the things you're having. But again, after practice, the 30 to 60 minutes, depending on how close you are to dinner, pack something. On the weekends, definitely pack something, because I'm not sure when practice times fall during the weekends, but you may not be going into your next meal on a weekend practice. So making sure you go prepared will be really helpful. Any questions there? I know we've kind of talked about this one quite a bit. Travel weekends, meet weekends, when y'all are on the road, any questions there? How to prepare? What should I do?
I have a question.
Great.
Do you think, do you know what a carb load is?
A carb load, is that a product, or like what carb loading is?
Carb loading.
Carb loading. Say it again. What was the question?
Does that work? Or?
It can. So I have some thoughts on, I don't want to call it like a fad diet or anything like that, but it is a strategic way about how and when you eat your carbs, similar to intermittent fasting. You know what I mean? If you've heard that phrase, intermittent fasting, and you only eat in certain hours, similar to carb loading, you kind of stockpile all your carbs strategically in your day. I don't be continuously fueling the body, rather than spiking and dipping. And as far as when you get things, especially at y'all's age, you don't want to send any habits into the body that may not be long term. So I think the nutritional timing and being smart about when you maybe have more carbs specific for when your workout is and your practice is, or when you're competing. And maybe it's the night before a big race, if you have a big event in the morning, maybe eating a little carb heavier that evening would be something to think about. But I don't think so. The carb loading, as far as peaking and dipping, as far as when you're taking them in, needs to be considered for y'all. Sorry, that was a roundabout way of me getting that answer, but does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I think if you're just giving your body continuous fuel and then being strategic about pre-workouts, or if it's, again, like going into this travel weekend topic, if it's, you've got the big event, think about like marathon runners, they always have like their big pasta meal the night before, something like that. But I don't think it needs to be like on a specific schedule. Any travel weekend questions, or on the road, traveling on the road, how to pack, how to plan? Because we're going to jump. Oh, if we go to a place that does not have a lot of options for places to eat, what do you recommend? Don't go. So I just got the question on the chat. If we go to a place that does not have a lot of options for places to eat, where do you, oh, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. So if you go to a town that doesn't have a lot of places to eat, go to the grocery. You can usually, a lot of the grocery stores will have prepared dinners. Like, I know I've seen them at Fresh Market and Whole Foods, but even Rouse's or Winn-Dixie, you can get a, microwavable situation where it's, a good meat, a pasta. You can usually find some good options at a grocery store as well. If you look kind of in the deli, fresh food area versus, the frozen food, you should be able to maybe find some good options there. Or if you know that you're going to a town, and if you're staying in a hotel, I know it's a little bit more limited as far as what you can handle, but if you're staying in a place that has even a small little kitchenette, bringing stuff or planning a meal that you guys can cook and have at home is really helpful. Okay, let's go through this slide. How to prepare and plan. What are you eating normally during the week leading up to big practices or weekends when you don't have to travel? We don't want to try any brand new things usually before we compete or before we race. And then I think it was our last presentation, we talked about planning and preparing and what that looks like, and how you need to take a little bit more initiative to make a plan. And rather than just show up race weekend and be like, we're just going to wing it, making a plan. In the surrounding areas, so you can plan out and know that they have things that your body likes and responds well to. Make your favorites ahead of time. So if you know that you really like these peanut butter energy balls, or you've been making these banana nut muffins and you've been eating those in the morning before practice, make them and bring them with you. Again, preparing ahead of time. So making some of those things that you really like. Maybe it's pancakes. So for example, my husband races, and he has pancakes that he has before every race morning. So whether we have to go to the grocery store and get the stuff to make the pancakes while we're there, wherever we're staying, or if our hotel room doesn't have the stuff that we need to make them, we'll make them here and bring them with us. So if you know you have some things that you have to have and you respond really well with, make them ahead of time so that you can be prepared. And then leave time when you get there for the grocery. Pack an ice chest if you maybe have one thing that you know that is only sold at your grocery store, or you have to order it on Amazon or something. Pack it, bring it with you, pack an ice chest, or when you are going somewhere, maybe start looking for places that have the amenities to make some things in the house if that's not something you typically have to think about. Questions about travel weekends? Making a grocery list, going to the store, not relying just on takeout or meals out to eat, bringing the snacks that you like, packing the ice chest or the lunchbox that you need if you have cold things. We good? All right. Check the chat. Are we hungry after dinner? Anybody get hungry after dinner? Does anybody like a big snacker after dinner? If they're doing homework and you find your bags or your hand stuck in a bag of Sour Patch Kids or Cheetos or some after dinner snack that you know that could be probably better. I do have a recipe for banana muffins. I just made them this week. I will post it on the New Wave page. It's really easy. It's 3 ingredients and they're full of protein. I use the Kodiaq Pancake Power Cakes, not the Kodiaq Muffin Mix, because they do have a muffin mix where you can follow their instructions, but you have to add oil and egg, and there's a bunch of added sugar in there in that blend. If you do just the pancake mix, it's lower in sugar and higher in protein. And then instead of using water or milk, I use a protein shake. And that's it. And then if you want to add in banana, I'll mash in 1 ripe banana, and it makes 6 muffins, and it takes 15 minutes in the oven, but it's super easy. I keep them in the refrigerator every week, so I will post that on the page for you guys to have that as well. And that would be a great snack. It'd be a great extra for breakfast. It'd be a great something to pack in your swim bag to pop in. Again, going from swim to dry land or have afterwards, because it's full of both the complex carbs and protein. What is the pancake recipe? Oven and muffin tins, and one I make on the stove top like regular pancakes. It's the Kodiaq Pancake Box mix. If you all have seen it, it's at the grocery store. It's in the brown box and has a big black bear on the cover. And when you look on the directions on the back of the box, it says to use water or milk. And again, I just use a protein shake instead. And the parts are equal. It's 1 part mix, 1 part protein shake. I made them this morning. And again, they take 2 seconds in the morning. You can make a big batch of them for your week and have them every morning. Have those as a snack. That mix comes in a bunch of different flavors. I think the ones I made this morning were chocolate chip flavored. Hungry after dinner, anybody? I see Kendall nodding. Let's be smart about what we're eating after dinner. So, why? Did you eat enough at dinner? Do you tend to maybe have a smaller dinner? And so then you didn't eat enough and you're hungry? How big should our dinner be? A lot. You want, if you are having, let's say, grilled chicken, you want a big old breast of chicken breast, and then I'm going to break it like a really simple meal. So if you're just having a meat, some veggies, and a carb. So you should be having, say, a full sweet baked potato, or maybe 2 cups of a whole wheat pasta, or a cup of maybe brown rice, a cup and a half of brown rice, 1 large chicken breast, 2 chicken breast, boys, you're going to have a little bit more. And then about 2 cups of veggies. So that's a lot of food, right? So just make sure you're not under eating. Make sure you're filling your plate. Most of your plate should be veggies, then carbs, then your meat. And I've posted a picture before of the pie chart of what a plate looks like and how you should be evenly distributing those 3 things. So let's say dinner was big enough, but we're still hungry. Are you bored? Is it just, are you eating out of habit? Do we just like to have candy hid under our bed or while we're watching TV or something? Be careful. We've talked about the sugars. Be careful about the sugars after dinner because it's what's going to keep you up. And so even though you may fall asleep fine, you may not be getting that good sleep, the well-rested sleep, which is just going to cause you to be tired at practice, not perform better. When you go into practice fatigued or tired because you had too much candy the night before and you didn't get a great night's sleep, you're more prone to injury. So it's all a snowball effect of what you're putting in your body. Go light on the sugar. So, if you like the after dinner sweets, that's fine. I'm not, y'all are still teenagers. If you want some sweets, just maybe start making it smaller portions. If you're about to go to sleep, maybe don't have that ice cream right before you go to sleep, right? So make sure you're getting enough at dinner time. Identify if you're actually hungry. Are we bored? Is this just a habit? And go light on those sugars after dinner. If you do want something, one of my go-to after dinner snacks, again, is if you're going to put the last thing in your body after dinner, it could be and should be a protein. So like I'll do a Greek yogurt and maybe put a few dark chocolate chips on top with some honey, because now it feels like a bowl of ice cream, but it's healthier. It's better protein. It's less fat. Make a smoothie. A smoothie is great after dinner. It's cold, feels like ice cream. You can make it sweet with honey and fruit, berries, all that stuff. Is milk good? I just got the question in the chat. Is milk good? Milk's fine. Milk, you don't need to be too cautious of the fat you're taking, and you want to make sure it's real fats, not, coming from fried food and those types of trans fats that you find in like chips and that kind of crappy foods. Milk's fine. I let milk, it all depends on if you like milk and you have no problems digesting, then that's fine. If you think you're taking in too much milk, you could always go down a percentage of the fat, but I think milk is absolutely great for y'all. And it's a great way to get in protein and good fats. Anyone else? Any questions about after dinner snacking? Timing of it? I know there's a myth out there. You're not supposed to eat after 8 o'clock. It's kind of hard if you're getting home at 8 o'clock to not eat after 8 o'clock, right? You don't want to be eating like 30 minutes before you close your eyes. You guys you're not trying to lose weight. We're not restricting y'all's calorie intake. Eat if you're hungry. Be mindful of the choices that you're making late at night. If you want to make the smarter choice, it should try to make it a protein. And just maybe not have something within the 30 minutes, 15 minutes before you're closing your eyes. Questions about after dinner hunger? Moving right along. Oh. Anybody really just dragging, feeling real sleepy lately? Struggling to get through workouts, struggling to get through school? Anybody want to talk about it? You feel headaches? Fatigue. Even if no one struggles with it, we'll talk about it. So under eating and under fueling, a sugar crash and not enough sleep, obviously, if you're sleepy. But under eating and under fueling is what we went back to when we talked about pre-workout. making sure you're putting enough gas in your tank. You want the carbs. So if you're feeling that fatigue, you're probably not carbing enough. You're not having enough complex carbs in your diet. We don't want to ever skip the carbs, but we also don't want to fill it with simple carbs. The simple carbs aren't going to last very long. So the simple versus complex, you want the complex because that's like putting a log on a fire. It's going to keep it burning. Simple carbs like your white breads, white rice, sugar, candy, all of that. Those are your simple sugars. Those burn out like a match. So it's not gonna last long, just like a sugar crash. So you may feel that increase of energy after a bowl of ice cream. And then not long after, you may feel woof and you're laying on the couch. It's a sugar crash and it's going to cause that extra fatigue. So if you know you're taking in a lot of sugar and you're also maybe struggling with some fatigue and headaches, it's that crash. And then you may not be sleeping enough. So we've talked about getting enough sleep, turning the iPad off, turning your phone off, letting the body unwind. That kind of stuff is going to be really important, because how to prevent it, nutritional timing, make sure we're getting it. We talked about that first slide, make sure you're getting enough. Hydration keeps us feeling more alert, getting the sleep, and then getting your proteins and your carbs. If we are fatigued, you become a little lazier in your workout. You're a little bit more distracted in your workout. So you're more prone to hurting yourself and just not getting, if you're going to be there for several hours and you're working your butt off, you want to make sure you're getting the bang for your buck. And if you're going into it tired, you can't get the bang for your buck through that workout. Okay. Enzo asks, what are some good foods to have during a snack to keep me awake for 2 hours? Explain more. I need more context. Keep you awake for 2 hours for what? When's the 2 hour window falling? Do you want to jump in and chat or speak?
So, so I'll have breakfast around like 6:30, and then
breakfast
around.
Okay.
And then I'll snack around like 10, but then I struggle to stay awake for like my next 2 periods.
What are you having for breakfast typically?
Typically, I have a chicken biscuit with like some milk.
Chicken biscuit that you're making at home, or is this like a chicken biscuit from Chick-fil-A?
This is kind of like a chicken biscuit from Whole Foods.
Oh, from Whole Foods. Oh, I see. Is it fried?
I think so.
Yeah. If it's deep fried, that's what's sitting in your stomach and making you sleepy. All that oil and fat. And then what's your snack?
Typically for a snack, I'll have like a burger or
You're having a burger at 10 a.m.?
Well, sometimes they have it at they offer burgers at snack.
Wow. I would switch those up. So I think it's the fried chicken and the red meat burger sitting heavy on you. That would put me to sleep too. So I think if you could switch those things out, maybe try maybe if they have at Whole Foods, their hot breakfast, I think they might have like a breakfast burrito wrap, like maybe with some eggs and bacon or something. A sandwich that is eggs and cheese versus the biscuit and the fried chicken, or try making something at home, like something similar to that, but maybe getting better ingredients than the fried chicken and the biscuit, maybe using whole wheat toast or a whole wheat bagel and making it at home like that. It's just going to be better nutrients that won't leave you feeling as lethargic and kind of pulling the eyelids down, because I know that feeling. Similar with the burger, I love that you're getting that extra protein at that time of the morning. I think that's great. But maybe finding a different option that the school might offer during that time, or do they have other options at snack time?
I think the other one is another fried chicken biscuit.
We gotta pack you some snacks.
Yeah.
Let's pack some snacks. So something like a piece of fruit, even packing like your own sandwich, like a turkey sandwich or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You can get some good jellies or jams that are low sugar, all natural fruits, and making like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or something that's just going to be a little bit more, I don't want to say natural, but real food that your body is going to have a little bit easier of a time digesting, because those two things just sound really heavy, and it makes perfect sense that it's putting you to sleep. So I'd switch out those options to something a little bit healthier. So maybe making some muffins or buying some good protein bars from the store. Like I like the RX bars. I think the perfect bar is one that I don't mind for y'all's group to have. Is going to be, because it's high in calories. I think it's like 200 or 300 calories for that bar. So something like that is going to be just a little bit better than the burger and the fried chicken. Is that something you
What's
think
your
you can do?
Yeah. What's your opinion on Cliff Bars?
Too much sugar. I don't love the Cliff Bars. They're kind of my least favorite. I know they're super yummy. I don't mind those. It depends. So like if you are in the middle of a meet, right, and you're in between events, that's probably something fine to take in at that point. Just because you're going to be burning those sugars for that workout. I don't love them though. I think there's better ones out there. So when you start looking at bars, if you're at the store, start looking at the label, flip over and look at the nutritional label, and look at, there's a line that's going to say added sugars. And you want to keep that like 10 and under, or like 5 and under. We don't want to go too high on that added sugar line, because then it's actually just a Snickers wrapped up in a health food label. You know what I mean? And the sugars also, if you eat them too much, you're going to get that crash and burn effect. And that's something you definitely don't want in the middle of a school day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope that was helpful. Anybody else? Snack questions? All right, let's go into hydration. I think we touched on most of this a minute ago. How much we should be drinking. We talked about that. We used the body weight of 100 pounds or 120 pounds as an example. Any questions on that and what that looks like? Is everybody able to bring water to school with them? Does anybody struggle with just not being thirsty? I am one of those people. I have to force water a little bit. I just forget, and I know I have to, and I'll find myself hungry. I think I'm hungry, or I go to look for a snack and I have to remind myself, nope, you're probably just thirsty. Go have a glass of water. If I ever feel a headache, it's all related. So it's something that I know not everybody is just naturally a thirsty person or likes to just drink plain water. So it's got to be forced a little bit, especially as athletes. So I find that if I start drinking water, as soon as I wake up with my breakfast, filling a bottle and having it with me all day, the more likely I feel thirst. Whereas if I go until lunchtime without drinking water, I can go and not feel thirsty. And I know that's the case with some people. So if you are one of those people, try to make it an effort, start making it a new habit to wake up and pour yourself a glass of water. Do sports beverages or other beverages count towards your hydration ounces? No, not for athletes, maybe for your non-athlete peers. They probably don't even need to be getting in 1 ounce per body weight, but y'all are in a whole different world, hence why we're all here. So stay extra hydrated. And then if you know that you're somebody, I know someone asked, might have been Enzo earlier, about cramping in the pool, electrolytes and sodium. So those sports drinks are going to be really helpful to take in addition to your water. Because like I said, I have sometimes a hard time with it as well. I bought a bottle on Amazon. It's the size of my head, but it counts down. I think it's 180, maybe 100 ounces of the bottle. And it counts down at 7 o'clock where I should be, at 11 a.m. where I should be, at 1 o'clock where I should be. So it kind of gives me those ticks to help me stay on top of it. So I know those are online. You don't need to get the huge, massive one, because I know that might be unrealistic for y'all to carry around at school, but they have thinner ones that may be 32 ounces. That'll still be good so that you can track your time if you're somebody that you know struggles with getting in enough water. Questions about hydration or anything other beverage related?
Do you know a good electrolyte supplement rather than Gatorade or Powerade?
Yeah, the Noon tablets, it's NUUN. Careful, I think some of them have caffeine. You don't need the caffeine. So just a lot of these sports drinks, supplements will have usually they'll have a caffeine option as well. So just be mindful when you are checking out new supplements that yours does not have the caffeine. But the Noon tablets are great. They dissolve in a bottle of water. They come in like a little cylinder tube. I know you can get them at Academy, Varsity Sports. You can probably order them on Amazon. I'm sure you can order them on Amazon. Those are great. The liquid IV, you can get those in little single packets. Those are great as well. Just finding your taste preference, but both of those are great, full of electrolytes. And they mix with water. Good question. Anything else? Let's see what's next. Oh, I keep forgetting, I have one more bullet on each slide. Headaches, cramps, hydrate, extra electrolytes. How much caffeine should we have? None. I was talking with Kaden earlier about caffeine, pre-workout supplements. I think y'all just need to stay away from it at this point. I don't think it's necessary. I know y'all might like coffee or running through Starbucks and that type of thing. And every once in a while, that's fine, but I wouldn't rely on it as, your energy. If you can change some things in your diet, a lot of times you don't need the caffeine. I can't tell you how many clients I work with, y'all's age and adults. If you clean up your diet, eliminate some of the fried stuff, eliminate the highly processed things, when you look at labels, all those words you can't pronounce, start eliminating some of those things that our body has a hard time digesting and replacing it with the good stuff. All of the examples that I've given in the past, a lot of times that can boost our energy. If you're feeling like that 2:00 in the afternoon slump, that can kind of reverse that thing if you're putting the good stuff in your body, and we shouldn't need caffeine. I would say none. I understand if you want a little bit, so go on the lowest end of what, if you're a coffee drinker, Abby, just try to go on a low end, because I'll tell you what, it's an addictive substance, caffeine is. And if you get, you can suffer from headaches if you don't have it. If you go one morning and you've been used to drinking coffee through the summer, or, on break, and then you go back to school and you don't wake up and have your coffee, you may start suffering from headaches. And we just want to eliminate all that extra that could be harmful. This might be one of the last slides, but likes, dislikes, and substitution. I know I give y'all a bunch of options as far as how you should be filling your meals, filling your snacks, but I know that everybody has likes, dislikes, food allergies, dietary restrictions. Does anybody have any questions about, you've recommended this, Nichole, but I can't eat that, or I don't like that. Is there something else I could be having in a replacement? Or, I don't like, I don't know, bread. What should I be having instead? Anybody have any questions like that? How do I get vegetable nutrients without eating vegetables? Oh boy. A supplement, a veggie supplement. So it comes in, you can get them in form, like you would take a multivitamin, or a daily vitamin. You can get a dose of greens that way. There are plenty of protein supplements like shakes or powders that are also plant-based. Some are, I think there's one called Super Greens, maybe. So you could just mix that in with a smoothie, shake it up in water. I'm sure that doesn't taste great, but you could mix it in with a smoothie or something. So throw spinach in your smoothies is a great way, Rachel. I'll throw 2 big cups of spinach in my smoothie. It turns it green, but I promise you don't taste it. If you taste it, call me and you can yell at me. You can't taste the spinach in your smoothie. Same with avocado. I'll throw in some avocado into my smoothie. It makes it just a little bit thicker and creamier, and you're getting a nice healthy fat and veggie there. But you can hide some veggies places, like spinach wilts down when you cook it in. So I'll actually, when I make my tacos, my turkey taco meat, I will throw in spinach there and wilt it down and mix it in with my ground meat. And you don't even realize it's there and you're sneaking in some spinach. But if you don't eat vegetables, getting it in a supplement form, like a powder or a vitamin, is going to be helpful. Because you definitely want to be getting in those. So we talk a lot about macros. So macros stands for macronutrients. So those proteins, fats, and carbs are your macro groups of nutrients. But things that come from veggies and fruits and things like that are called your micronutrients. And there's a billion of them, but you still want to be taking them in. So getting a supplement would be really important. Yeah. Rachel's got all the tips. You can get cauliflower or broccoli rice, or you can take broccoli and cauliflower and pulse it in a blender or a food processor, and you can cook it down in a pan and eat it like rice. So you can sneak it in that way. It doesn't have a very strong taste, and you can hide it in, meats, or hide it in with a rice bowl, or hide it in with a pasta bowl or something like that. Good tips. Anybody else with likes, dislikes, substitutions?
I don't really like protein bars, and the only ones that I found to like are the Cliff bars. So is that fine, or should I try something else?
So honestly, protein bars, I don't even really consider a Cliff bar a protein bar, because I think, and I could be wrong, if you have one in front of you, you might be able to correct me. I think it only has 10 grams of protein, which is actually kind of low for something that's being labeled a protein bar. So I know there's another one out there, and I'm not a huge proponent of the bars, but I know they come in really handy when you're in a pinch, or, you need to be able to get in the calories and you can't sit down and eat something. The Quest bars are a good option where it's giving you 20 grams of protein. So it's a little bit more. Do you think you have trouble getting in protein in your normal diet and you need a bar to supplement?
I just eat them before practice because I can't eat a meal on the way to school.
And you don't like any other bars?
No, I don't like any of the RX bars or anything.
They're kind of chewy, huh?
Yeah.
You could try eating something that's more of a real food. So like having a piece of fruit, having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, versus where you can get all the same nutrients of things that would be packed into a bar, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a bar. Does that make sense? A smoothie. But do you have time to go home? Or you know what, you could even do a pack of crackers, a sleeve of crackers. I know some of these packaged sandwich crackers have whole grains. Something like string cheese, some nuts, some almonds or cashews, stuff like that may be a little bit better I don't think you need to worry about getting in a quote unquote protein bar, but more or less something that's full of some good complex carbs.
Okay, what if I've tried eating almonds and stuff and it's just not enough?
It's not enough food.
Yeah, or crackers or fruit, I just crash in practice.
Well, listen, if the Cliff bar is what's working for you, then stick with it. Don't change it.
Okay.
It's not the worst thing out there. And if that's what works for you, and you respond well and you're able to get through practice successfully and you don't crash and it gives you all of the things that you need for a pre-practice situation, let it rip. That's perfectly fine. It's definitely not the worst thing out there. It's not a Snickers, so you're totally fine there.
Okay.
I was thinking you meant you needed to find a bar that had a higher protein when you said protein bar. But if it's like a pre-workout snack situation, it's going to be fine.
All right.
Sorry, I made that kind of confusing. Anyone else?
I had something to say about the Cliff bars. Cliff does make like a builder's protein bar that has like 20 or 25 grams of protein.
Oh, perfect. Thanks for that. So yeah, if you're looking for something that is higher in protein, look for the builder one. That's going to give you a little bit beefier protein. But if you're not looking for a specific protein bar, then what you're doing is absolutely fine. Thanks for the protein tip. Anyone else on likes, dislikes, substitutions, finding alternatives, making it work? Oops. All right, anything else? Send me a chat or just call out something if you guys have any other topics that you brought that I didn't touch on. If you want, if it's a bigger topic and you want to see it discussed at length in a presentation for next month, or questions about anything as far as your nutrition goes, let me know. Just thought of this because I'm drinking one. What do you think about carbonated water? It's fine. It can't count towards your regular water. But it's fine. It all depends on, for me personally, it makes me feel really heavy in my stomach and distended and bloated, and it actually ends up making me feel thirstier. But it's a better alternative to like a Coke or a Diet Coke or any other kind of soft drink. It's definitely a cleaner option. I would just, that isn't your hydration source, as long as it's just like here and there. Good question. Anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns, topics? Do you want to go back to a topic we already mentioned and you didn't get your chance to jump in? Coach, you got anything?
No, it's probably good. I mean, I'm very happy that we did have questions and ideas that popped up and tried to help them out. So thank you for all of you who did chime in, whether it was questions or comments or suggestions. So I thought that was good.
It was great.
Yeah.
I like hearing some of y'all's voices. All right, guys. Well, you know how to reach me if y'all do think of anything or do you have any questions. Let me know.
Yep. No. Nichole, thanks. This was good. We'll figure out what we're going to do for next month as our swim meet schedule kind of changed. So you and I will talk and we'll get something scheduled on the books. And if we get some topics from the swimmers, we'll lead with that. If not, we'll come up with something.
Sounds good.
Do it again in a month or so. All right. Again, thanks everybody for joining us on Sunday. Thanks for your contributions. Very much appreciated. Thank you, Nichole, for putting all this together. So if there's nothing left, you can all take off and we'll get this posted and recorded and for anybody who wasn't available.
Sounds good. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.